Is there somebody or something on your mind this week? Is there something you're focused on that maybe you shouldn't be? If so, maybe you're like I was. Maybe you need a change. If you ask any of my coworkers, they're going to say, I'm a golden retriever. Squirrel. Underneath it all, I'm a bit of a Jack Russell. I'm focused on a groundhog hole. And that's done a lot for me. If you don't know, I actually, just 6 weeks after deciding to even think about practice ownership, I started a mobile practice. And within 4 years, I turned that into an all-inclusive vet care and pet resort that I designed. So there's a lot of focus. But this year, I was focused on something I shouldn't have been. I was focused on my senior veterinary nurse. I think today I'll call her Andy. So Andy was my friend and a good employee. She was with me through years through the mobile practice. We built it together. The clients loved her. We bonded. If you've ever done a house call euthanasia, you can imagine if you do that every day. If you've ever been stuck in the car with somebody, you can ask my manager about that. But if you've ever been stuck in a car for 40 hours a week, you can imagine the bond. She was my work wife. We were really close. We built the mobile practice together, and I was so excited to see her lead others in the stationary clinic and inspire them. I didn't see what was coming. I couldn't predict it, but I should have. So the stationary clinic opened last fall, and it was awesome. I had space, 3 people in the surgery room at a time. It was crazy. I was happy, my clients were happy, my team was happy, but Andy wasn't. Andy didn't like change, and change is what I had done in a big way. So in the stationary clinic, you all know standard operating procedures, policies, expectations, accountability. Andy didn't like learning the new rules, and she certainly didn't like that I expected her to follow them. My requests were met with sighs and eye rolls. This was the woman that had supported me for years, guys. I had asked her to do something, and it just never seemed right. Mistakes were commonplace. Missed items were normal. The storm clouds started to move through the clinic. Now, Andy suffered from depression and chronic pain. She was my family. I wanted to fix this. My manager and I went to work. We did check-ins. We did staff appreciation. Many of you have seen my staff shout-out board. I tried gifts as her language. M&M's, Starbucks. I took the extras. Don't worry about that. Then I asked her to help with the protocols. Okay, if you don't want to learn these, maybe I didn't develop them right. So we worked on that. Time and time again, we did performance reviews with goal expectations. Dave says don't do performance reviews, so we try something different. It never seemed to work. I do listen, Dave. It didn't always work. It didn't work. So I headed to Uncharted in the spring. If y'all don't know, I'm a junkie, and so I was really excited to be here. But I was focused. I was focused on Andy. Heard the suggestions about the new ways to do dentistry. That's another thing I love. Yeah, Andy's not going to go over that in the exam room with the clients. No point in that. I went to the storytelling through photos talk. I love that too. Yeah, Andy's going to give me crap. I waste her time every time I take a photograph. The talks that were the hardest, guys, were Carrie and Jamie's talks about suicide. And the reason they were hard is just a few weeks before, in a performance review, Andy had shared with us that she was considering suicide. Remember, this was my family. I was not yet QPR certified when she told us, and I did what I could. I gave her the list of counselors. I offered her time off. I took away the controlled drug key, which, trust me, didn't make her happy. But I did it. And listening to those talks, I had a new fear. Andy could become a statistic if I ever chose to fire her. So I went back home, put the positivity to work. My team and I developed behavioral standards. Things like be nice, don't complain. It's really weird. My manager kept saying to me, be nice. So you look at the behavioral standards for me. I was sitting on the porch with my husband, which doesn't happen very often, and a friend, and I was hashing over the day. We all do that. He said, "You know what? You're always preaching positive culture. It sure doesn't sound like we've got that here." It seems like Andy's attitude wasn't the only one getting worse. I was angry. I was scared. I was annoyed. I was sad. I was frustrated. And it was all the time. I was so focused on Andy, I didn't see the amazing things the rest of my team was doing. I couldn't give to my husband and my children because I went home and focused on what she had done that day. It was all I could think about. I could have easily turned into another toxic practice owner. You all know the story. You know how that can end. But uncharted is my tribe, and it didn't go that way. In July, yet another shout out, Dave Nichol released a podcast called "Don't Let People Live Rent-Free in Your Head." That was an aha moment. If you haven't heard it, please listen. Aha! Andy isn't living rent-free in a room. She owns the whole damn block. I didn't give her permission, but she took it over. And I don't usually win Monopoly, so it's no surprise. But guess what? I didn't do anything about it. I didn't do anything about it, except continue to get worse. So you also know I'm a Facebook Uncharted junkie, and there was a post about an infraction a technician had made, and I got uncharacteristically mad. You all were giving positive comments. "Oh, let's take her aside and ask her why she did this. Let's help her out." Are you kidding me? This woman was disrespectful and not a team player. Fire her. I picked up my torch and I commented. And Saya Clement picked up her phone and she messaged me. "Tracy, are you okay?" I need you to know that when that message came through, I was sitting in the car in my newly built clinic's parking lot, working up the courage to go in and face Andy for another day. For the first time, I could look from the outside in. "Saya, you turned on the lights." She turned on the lights and she showed me that I wasn't myself anymore, and it wasn't because I was scared. I was scared to be understaffed. I was scared to have my clients upset. I was scared to let my team down. I kept saying, what are they going to think of me if I let another person go? I was scared she would take her own life. I was scared I had failed as a leader. But the light was on, so I did something. And the very next day I did it. I said to Andy, "We're done." She looked at me and she said, 3 clinics all these years. Why does this keep happening to me? Do you like change? No. Change is scary. Change is necessary, and change is good. The next day, I felt lighter. We turned on tunes in the treatment room, and I danced without fear of judgment. My team, they didn't break, they flourished. Our team meetings were positive, they were inspirational, they were focused on growth mindset. The very next month, no joke, highest revenue ever, but understaffed. If you're wondering, Andy has another job. She's okay. And I'm okay. My family's okay. Once a week, my husband and I meet for walks. We talk, and he's looked at me and smiled. And I said, "What?" He said, "It's so good to see you happy." So above my desk in my office, I have a Post-it note. And anybody here can ask my manager. That's a big deal because Post-it notes are banned. So you've got to be pretty important to get on a Post-it note, and Andy Rourke is there. It says, "Protect the culture." And I heard those words just days after I let Andy go. You see, there was a time where I let myself become negative because I was afraid to change. I was afraid to change what I was so used to having by my side for so many years. But the minute that I took the plunge, things turned around for the positive. So every day when I see that note, I'm reminded, never be afraid to make a change to protect something you love. So right now, is there something on your mind? Something that you should not be focused on? Maybe something you should be focused on. When you go home from GSD, if you take home one message, let it be this: you can do it. You can make the change.